Well, hello friends, Mark Holmes here with, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. I'm here at my day job with my son, Michael Anthony Fitness, and we're doing that thing. We have to worry a little bit about whether or not we're going to have football in 2021. And I want to give you guys some thoughts, at least my thoughts, on what's going to happen with the NFL. If you think back to 2011, the last time there was the labor agreement, a lot of things changed because of the agreement. And what the NFL does, here's the thing you got to understand. First of all, the NFL owners got money. The NFL owners don't want to have a lockout, but they're not going to go broke during the lockout. Most of them made their money elsewhere, not from football. And sure, they want to keep getting that revenue. They want to go for that Super Bowl and all that, but they're not having to worry about paying their mortgage. In 2011, this is crazy because we think about how much money these guys sign contracts for. But in 2011, the average yearly salary was around $380,000, and 22% of the players had no savings. Let me say that again. They had zero money in the bank. You get paid 17 paychecks, 17 weeks during the season. And some of them are getting really big checks. But when you have somebody like Adam Jones who admits that he spent $1 million in Vegas in a weekend, $1 million. You had guys like Deshaun Jackson who are borrowing money during the lockout. And what the NFLPA has been doing for the last couple of years is to prepare for a lockout. And basically the money that, it's like $20,000 a player that they get from Madden and all that stuff, is going into a kitty for the players. So what they have for the players is $60,000 for each player that they can get to during a lockout. Well, if you're used to spending money like water, $60,000 isn't much. So hypothetically, let's say this. Well, here's
Marshawn Lynch is actually one of the smartest guys when it comes to finances.
He's one of the few.
Because he spent his the money he made outside of football is all expensive.
Right.
So he still has his money from football.
Well, and there's Jay Leno has a thing, but we'll talk about what Jay Leno says to do too. That's something that Tracy had said to you. But to equate it, if you are making the average salary in America, imagine that you're not going to work your job for however long there's a lockout, and through the course of the lockout, you got $450. That's what it's actually the percentage of what the average player would be getting during the lockout. So figure out whatever you make right now. Let's say it's a 4-month lockout. You get about $450. And I'm not saying that we should have sympathy for the players that aren't smart enough to say, I'm going to take 10% of my money and just put it aside for retirement or whatever. But that's the reality of it. So you end up getting the NFL owners want things. See, now you hear about them talking about an 18-game schedule again. Again, they get a couple more weeks of football. Oh, man, that's more money in their pocket. And see, what they did last time was they kind of did a bait and switch with the players. Because Sam Bradford signed, and this is where it's crazy. Sam Bradford was the last big rookie contract, and I believe it was $76 million over 6 years. And see, that's where the veterans are like, wait a minute, hold up. This guy ain't done jack in the NFL, and he's getting paid more money than me, and I'm a veteran. So let's go ahead and put in a rookie wage scale. That way, we're not putting all the money to the rookies, and we'll use that money on the veterans. That was the thought, right? Sounds right? Don't, slot the rookies, which is great because you don't have the holdouts for the owners. But what happened was the exact opposite. What it ended up being is it actually makes it harder for the veterans because the owners are looking and saying, if we get this rookie, we're only paying him $1 million, $2 million for the first 4 or 5 years, and the average of them aren't going to make it past 5 years, so we'll never have to pay them another contract. So it became that the veterans are disposable, and you keep going with the youth movement. So you're seeing guys who are still valuable players, but they're not getting value to value. So they kind of screwed themselves there. But what the owners did was they're like, okay, we're going to change the rules for you guys. We're going to make it easier for you. No more 2-a-day practices. And you're not going to be tackling anymore in practice. So the veterans are like, yeah, man, because we don't want to go to training camp. That was one of those caveats. And that's where marijuana. Now they're going to say, hey, players, man, you know what? We're going to change the rules on marijuana use. So that way you get some of these veteran players, oh, yeah, man, that's cool. That's cool. We're not going to get busted and tested for that anymore. And that's that little give back that they're going to get, and the owners are going to try and keep more. Now, where it's going to get tricky is because DeMar Smith, who's a smart man, is basically like, we want some more of that power back from the owners. We want to be able to get more money for our rookies and for our veteran players. And we don't want to be able to be having things like we're dealing with Zeke Elliott happen. So it's getting ready to get ugly. Now, it may be that both sides are basically, bulking up trying to make the other side scared, because in the end, neither side wants to have a lockout. But if there is a lockout, it's to the owner's advantage. They don't have to worry about their bills. They're not paying the players until they come back. Players, on the other hand, that's where it gets to be rough. Now, I don't know how it's going to work out, but it won't surprise me if it ends up being a lockout. What do you think, Mike? In the end,
That's what the players do. The ones that can't save you. That's
Yeah.
what now. 'Cause they have the programs to teach you how to save.
well, basically we have millionaires fighting it out with millionaires. And we as the fans are the ones that are making all of them the millionaires. And we're the ones that are going to be doing
Yeah, but
without.
if you have a program that'll teach you how to save your money or how to invest your money, and you don't take advantage of that, that's on you.
Well, herein lies the problem too. Is when you're talking about somebody who's 20-some years old, who their whole life has been preparing to play football. Somebody else has always been taking care of school. You go to college and stuff, you got your education is paid for. You've got, a rigid schedule of when you're supposed to practice and stuff. You don't have to worry about where the next meal's coming from because you're eating a D-Hall.
No, that's no excuse.
So having financial ability to manage that money, you don't know.
That's no excuse.
And so, they have programs. Because I remember meeting
What happened to
Mike
Shaq?
Haynes.
What happened to Shaq? Someone wring his neck, and if they didn't wring his neck, he would have been broke right now.
No, that's where you see a lot of them are broke. But the NFL, here's the thing. NFL had, I remember meeting Mike Haynes. Mike Haynes was actually working with the rookies when they came out. Basically, I saw him last year or the year before, and I said, something you said to me stuck with me. And what it was he said, listen, don't buy mama a house. Buy mama an apartment building. Buy her something that is going to make money down the road. Because you've seen players that have gone out and they bought fancy houses. LeVar Arrington talked about how he had like 7 different houses, so he would sleep in a different house each night.
What?
Yeah, he had 7 different houses, so he would just sleep in a different house each night. The problem is he couldn't hold on. He lives in an apartment now, and they're broke.
What are those houses making?
Exactly.
That's
And there's
money.
actually,
That houses is money.
and that's where you. And the other problem is you figure, well, I'm always going to be playing football. You don't realize that all of a sudden the end is near, and you don't save. Des Bryant got out of college, got loans to buy jewelry and everything else, and with his salary that he had his first couple of years, he was a couple $1 million in the red. So that's where you got to be smart with your money, and it's like you don't know who to trust because you have a big pile of money.
What's his name?
People are going to say, "Oh man, I know where you can invest it," and all of a sudden that money's gone.
What's his name? Just buy a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, a Cleveland Dog Pound Rolls Royce
with his logo, with himself on the thing. How stupid is that?
The old saying is, "A fool in their money is soon departed," but both sides are going to dig in because they want to get something out of it. The NFL owners, the bottom line is they just want to make money. Okay, they want to make more and more money every single year, so they're going to continue to try and figure out ways that they can squeeze every penny out of it. You know, they're looking at changing the combine to evening workouts, so that way they can get more coverage on TV. They see what they get from the draft coverage. I mean, hell, we drove an RV all the way to Dallas for the draft. You know,
they're trying to get into Dallas one more.
What, the combine? Well, right now it's staying there.
No, I'm not talking about when the contract's up. I think they're going to try to get in Dallas.
They may, but regardless, the NFL is all about the money right now. And one other thing too, Law had sent me a USA Today article with all of the arrests that have happened over the last 3 years and stuff. And he says, I challenge your people to find Zeke Elliott on that list. And when you start looking at this list that's just really, really long, and you see the arrests of gun charges, drugs, domestic violence and stuff. There's several on the Washington Redskin players that are on there, from Junior Gillette and Reuben Foster and things like that. But the NFL has done next to nothing on the majority of those guys. So it'll be interesting to see. And that's one of those things that the NFLPA is trying to rein back some of that. So that's all I have to say about that. But we're going to be in here working, painting and stuff tomorrow. We're going to go install these cabinets over here. And then I might be working over at Don's house, one of you great fans, putting down some flooring, making some custom cabinets, taking out a wall and all that. So, you know. Oh, let me, the other thing about Jay Leno. Okay, so Jay Leno has this philosophy of having basically two sources of income, two jobs. And what you want to do is, with that one job, you want to be able to try and pay your bills and stuff with. The other job becomes your investment job, where you take the money from that, and that's where it goes for saving for down the road. So if you're somebody that's like Dak Prescott, say, you have your regular NFL money that pays your bills, then you have the commercials and stuff like that, sponsorships. That should be the money to be put away for building wealth down the road. And that's a good philosophy.
That's what Marshawn Lynch did.
Okay, so
he saved all of his money that he made in the NFL, and that's all. That's what he has to save.
There you go. And you know, and here's the thing that's crazy, because you don't have to. And I'm not saying that every NFL player should be, you know, save every nickel. But I remember Nnamdi Asomugha, who he stole money from the Eagles. That guy, he's married to Kerry Washington. Lucky dude. But I can guarantee you, he will never ever be broke. Everybody in his family are like doctors and lawyers and stuff. They look down on him being an NFL player. But he was driving still like a Maxima that was like, you know, 15, 20 years old and stuff, and saving every penny. And I'm going to tell you, the dude was tight.
Well, who was that running back we had?
Alfred Morris, same thing.
That had the guy.
So I'm not saying that you need to be like that, but see, look, if you make $20 million, hypothetically, let's say you save 20%, or no, 10% of that, $2 million. If you put that $2 million as an NFL player in the bank, if you're getting 10% returns, that means you're going to make $200,000 a year on the interest. Okay? So the first year, that $2 million, it's now worth $2.2 million. Okay, you get another 10% return on it. Guess what? Then that $2.2 million, that next year is going to be worth $2.5 million. And each year, it's going to continue to grow. So when you get down the road, you can just live off the interest. It's not that you got to say, "Oh man, I gotta live as a poor man." I'm not saying not to go out and buy a car, but some of these guys that go out and buy car after car. Look at Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams had one of the cars repossessed. The other car that was wrecked, you lost all the value of that in the accident, and it got repoed and sold. So, you know, be smart. I wish I had those kind of problems having to deal with that kind of money. But I'm Mark Holmes with, and we'll see you soon.